This is a podcast for everyone. Time to chat and have some fun. Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk. Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk. Shawk Talk.
And welcome in, everybody, to the inaugural episode of Shawk Tawk. This has been a long time coming. I'm super excited to have this finally happen. Shout out to everybody that's currently in chat that's trying to troll me as we do this. For any of you listening after the fact, you do not see or hear anything that's happening, but I do. And so if I randomly start giggling or screaming, it's because the chat is trolling me during the podcast. So just be aware of that. Thank you, chat. We're currently level 2 hype train, by the way. Our inaugural guest, guys, this was kind of a no-brainer for me. I was trying to think of someone that has been a long-time supporter, who's been here a long time. B, has a ton of streaming and content creating background. And C, it just was an obvious choice because of our, we'll say, rivalry aspects of things. And our inaugural guest that we've got tonight, guys, is none other than Sweenes with that sweet ass, baby. Welcome in, Sweenes. How's it going, sir?
Oh, it's going great, buddy. How you doing? As I just get this lovely fanny pack.
For those,
although it's covering up my shout out to Soulsy. Red Devil,
that.
He's better than you.
Yeah, which one's gonna be more important here, the Sweenes paddle or the Canadian representation?
Man, I've always gone to bat for Soulsy being the alpha Canadian, especially compared to Red Devil. Oh, hey, Red Devil. I'm gonna go with the sweet ass fanny pack now.
I agree.
This is freaking dope.
When in doubt, get a paddle out, is what I always say, guys. So first of all, like I said, I'm really glad to have you here, man. It's going to be super fun. We got a ton of great topics we're going to be discussing tonight. This is so different for any of you guys that don't know my background. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to the podcast, my background comes from basically streaming a Star Wars video game that you play on your phone. But we talk about all sorts of random stuff in our streams as well, and it's something that I love doing and wanted to continue doing, and this is kind of a way for us to branch out and do that. So we've got 5 kind of general topics that we will repeat on this podcast. We'll have sports, we'll have gaming, we'll have music, I'm going to call it cinema, but that includes both movies and TV, depending on the situation. And then food/drink. And now each of those categories are going to have their own unique spin on them, things that I like to do, and fun ways to kind of discuss that and evaluate that, if you will. So I'm looking real forward to this. We've got some great stuff that we're going to be talking about here today with Sweenes as well, especially given our background and how different we are in some aspects, if that makes sense. Thank you to chat again. Just want to say level 2 hype train out there, guys. Much appreciated, everybody. I do see all of that stuff. I'll try to shout it out when I get a chance, guys, but thank you very much. Welcome in, everybody. We got a ton of people in the chat. Thank you, guys. Welcome in. Getting things started, guys. Our very first topic of the evening. We're going to get things started with some sports action.
The Spread on Sports.
So the way this is going to work, we're going to talk about the topic first, and hopefully everybody heard that. we Sweenes and I should not have, but hopefully you guys all did. We're going to be talking about a topic of sports today, and exactly, Ellie. At least it's not Star Wars, Ellie. Ellie is, I don't think, a big sports fan, guys. She doesn't like Star Wars either, but she's here anyway. We're going to be talking a little bit about a really cool topic here regarding sports, and then at the end of it, we have a little over-under. That's why we call it the Spread on Sports. I'm going to propose that to Sweenes. I'm going to get his take on it. I'm going to give you my take. I'll be intrigued to see what you guys have to say afterwards as well, or if you were live in the chat and what you think the over-under would be on this. So the sports topic of today, guys, we're going to kind of keep this NFL-centered, largely because Sweenes and I, for those of you who do not know, we are opposing fans, probably the biggest rivals in the NFL. I am a Steelers fan. Sweenes is a Ravens fan. We absolutely hate each other, but we respect each other, right, Sweenes?
I would like to plead the fifth.
Exactly. So, for those of you that don't follow sports at all, let me give you guys kind of the update here. A lot of stuff happened last month in January with our two coaches, particularly with Mike Tomlin for the Steelers and then John Harbaugh for Sweenes. They both have been here for forever. Tomlin, I think it was 19 years in total. I think, was Harbaugh 18? Can you confirm that for me?
Correct.
Correct. Yep. Thank you. The longest tenured coaches, I believe, at the time in the NFL. Both of them ended up going away. Obviously, Harbaugh, if you don't know, guys, was fired, which boggles my mind. We'll get into that in a second. And Tomlin voluntarily stepped down. Whether that was colluded with or not, we'll talk about that as well. We might have some tinfoil hat stuff going on here. But, Sweenes, my question for you, and this is kind of the topic that came up when this all was going down, and even beforehand, it was a big discussion point. How long is too long for a coach? Now, we're looking at this at the lens of NFL. It can be very different for other sports, obviously. But from an NFL lens, how long do you think is too long for an NFL coach to be in one location?
So I think that answer most heavily relies on whether or not coaches are willing to objectively look at the teams they have and adapt. If if you are stuck in a certain coaching tree or philosophy of offensive strategy, defensive strategy, and you're not adapting to how the new rule changes are constantly impacting the flow of the game. 2, you're not adapting to your own personnel, and 3, you're not adapting to personnel of other teams. You're going to get out of there real quick. Having said that, I think that, if you look across the league average, I would say that if you're sinking your toes into like a decade, that's probably you're probably close to being on the way out, would be my assumption.
Nice. Yeah, I would tend to lean the same way. So like the Steelers obviously have a super long history of having long tenured coaches. Cowher being the shortest of the last 3, I think he was 15. Like, it's still crazy. But for me, my take is a slightly different take. So, and I'm going to come back to yours in a second, because I think yours is very specific for a reason. So for me, it's not so much about the progression as much as it is the results. I want results. And those results are very specific. We'll get into that in a second. You said progressing with the league. So the big criticism that I heard from for Harbaugh, I should say, is that he wasn't progressing. He regressed essentially with Lamar Jackson going back to the super old style of football that doesn't translate to today's NFL. Do you agree with that? Disagree with that? Where are your stance on that?
So while yes, the run heavy attack is not what the NFL wants anymore, it's not what the rule changes have lended themselves to. He adapted to the personnel of his group. You have one of the most athletically dynamic quarterbacks in NFL history. The man likes to run. Okay, we're going to give him a chance to run. And then you add in Derrick Henry, who is 250 pounds of just force.
Yeah.
You're going to pound the football, So to me, that, quote unquote regression of play style was an adaptation to the personnel that he had and what fit them the best. And then in the most awful explosion and implosion for us was the AFC Championship game at home against Kansas City. We led the league in rushing. We decided to run, I think it was 8 or 9 design run plays the whole game. And we lost. So I'm not angry.
So would you say that it wasn't just his inability to adapt to the NFL as a whole, but also some of his in-game decisions that he made that contributed to that too?
I think the biggest linchpin for him, aside from, and you kind of hinted at it, was like results. We as a franchise had gotten so spoiled and so numb to, it's a given we're going to make the playoffs. And now we're frustrated because we've had a certain level of success that we keep reaching, qualifying for the postseason, but then we fall flat. So you go from, the baseline standard of how coaches get evaluated. Are you winning?
Right.
If yes, then you branch and say, okay, are you winning enough to get into the postseason? If yes, okay, how far are you getting into the postseason? When was the last time you won a championship? And unfortunately, you do become a victim of your own success, which I think Tomlin probably also was in that same boat because Steelers have very consistently been in the postseason under him. He never had a losing record. So then the fans go, well, we're not enjoying us having first, second round exits. Like we need to make that next step.
Right, progress, like you said earlier. Yeah, that was a really good way of putting it. So, like, for me, the results thing is what I talked about because Tomlin came into a great situation and obviously did really well and won a Super Bowl. And I think, and this is kind of another topic that we could talk briefly about here with this, because you mentioned it earlier. Like when you hit a certain point of your coaching status, it kind of resets your clock, if you will. Like when Tomlin won the Super Bowl, that completely reset his clock. Like to me, he gets another minimum 5 years after that happens. So like the clock that you have obviously is dictated a bit by your progress, but a more recent example of what I think is kind of mind-boggling crazy, even in terms of the progress, is like the Buffalo Bills, man, with Sean McDermott getting fired. Like it's one thing for Harbaugh, who has struggled to make the playoffs of late and has not made a deep run since that Kansas City game. But man, McDermott, they're always in the playoffs. They're always winning in the playoffs. Yes, they haven't made it to the Super Bowl, but like that's bananas to me that he, as an example, is someone that could get fired. Like he was, in my opinion, not in a position to get fired. And I think that's kind of where I'm going with this topic. Like, do you think that it's just simply because he had been there a long time and that message got old? Because I think that's what happened with Tomlin. The players said they loved him, but the accountability was not there. The message just simply got old and they weren't getting the results because of that. Do you think it's the same case with Sean McDermott and the Bills?
I would really struggle to see that, considering this was the first year under Sean McDermott that they didn't win their division.
Right.
And like you said, they were always in it, and usually they would end up getting screwed over by Kansas City, which, let's be honest, there have been two guys who have gotten past him in the playoffs, Mr. Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. Yep. So, I don't know if it was as much the message getting dull more so as it was that they, especially looking at the circumstances and the media pressure of, hey, Josh Allen, you don't have your kryptonite in the playoffs. You don't have Lamar Jackson, who hasn't beaten you in the playoffs yet, but gives you fits when you do play him. And the only other guy who's actively ever beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs is not there either. So this is your golden ticket opportunity, and they choked. So I think it was more so of, looking circumstantially, like we as an organization for Buffalo, we played down to our competition and we did not capitalize on probably the best opportunity to get to the big dance.
Yeah. That's a great point. Baby Yoda in chat also points out Andy Reid was in a similar situation with the Eagles back in the day too. That is exactly the same prime situation as well. So to kind of wrap up our sports segment here, guys, like I said, it's called the Spread on Sports. So before we get to the official over-under here, Sweenes, because we kind of brought up a topic of like, again, the question is how long is too long? Do you think there's a number that's too long? Do you think that exists? Like, do you think even if they're winning Super Bowls when they hit year 15, it's just too much, they got to go?
Again, if they are adapting with the personnel that they have and are being fluid, I don't think that there is a definitive ending.
Gotcha. I'm with you on that.
For anybody.
I don't think there is actually a how long is too long if you are getting the results that you need to. Okay, so speaking of those results then, here's where our over-under comes into play, guys. So let's say, because we said earlier, like it resets for like 5 years. I know some coaches will only get a 3 year. That's probably the average. Some only get one, like the Raiders this year. But let's say the 5 year timeline is kind of what you're given. You're given the 5 years to get your results. In a 5 year period in the NFL, over under of 2.5 non-playoff seasons, is that, when do you have room to get fired? Do you give them more than 2.5 years or seasons, or do you give them less?
I would say on the whole, because like of teams that I'm thinking about that are missing playoffs consistently, like, you know, your Cleveland Browns, your Tennessee Titans, Las Vegas Raiders, teams that are in a very clear rebuilding area, you would be granted, I would say, probably 4, because
Okay.
you have to come in, establish culture, establish your personnel, and then move forward, just like how Dan Campbell did with the Lions. His first season was absolute garbage. Second season, they moved the needle a little bit, and then, oh, sweet Jesus, okay, we just won the NFC North is what they're in, right? I think NFC North. You know, like that type of progression, I think, makes sense. But if you're walking into a situation like, I'm going to use Jesse Minter with the Ravens, for example. If he walks in and we fall flat on our faces, the clock has already started ticking, sir. Like you might get 2 seasons max if you miss the playoffs in both of them. See ya.
So, okay, so you're saying it's sort of circumstantial. Let's say in 8-8 type scenario. So like the Ravens, or even I'd argue the Steelers. I know we weren't 8-8, but we're like in the middle pack. You giving them over 2.5 years or under?
No, that's gonna be the under. If you're walking into a team that has a well-established culture and, you know, a good personnel group, and you're not getting into the playoffs, the first year is your test drive. You screw up on the second year, see you, bye.
Interesting. So I feel like year 3 is that super important year. So I probably go the over here, because I think I'm willing to give them that third year. But that's why I picked 2.5. I feel like if it was 3.5, it'd be too easy of an over under. but I definitely can see what you're saying, because I do think year 3 is that super pivotal year. Let us know in chat, guys. Let us know if you're listening over on Spotify, YouTube, et cetera. Let us know, what do you think the over under is on that, assuming this is kind of a middle tier team and you're giving them 5 years to reach that goal. All right, moving on to our second topic, guys. Cue the intro.
Galaxy of Gaming.
Galaxy of Gaming. So, Sweenes, this is kind of getting into our bread and butter, I feel like, here, because we're both big gaming nerds. For those of you that don't know, they just recently did the PlayStation, or I shouldn't say PlayStation, the Sony reveal of all the different games and events and things like that they've got coming out for the upcoming 2026 year. And one of the big announcements that they made was the remake of 2 particular franchises. One, the Metal Gear Solid. I shouldn't say a remake on that. That's more of a reavailability than a remake, but a confirmed full-fledged remake is God of War. The original trilogy of God of War is being completely redone and updated for the PlayStation 5. Sweenes, I know you're a big classic gaming fan. First of all, just the general question on the topic itself. Do you like classics being redone? And if you do, what's one game you would like to see updated that's a classic that has not been updated?
Oh, dude, this is an easy answer. Absolutely. Are you kidding me, man? Because like, and you think about from a bias perspective, like, I played the ever loving out of Spyro as a kid. And like that Spyro and Crash Bandicoot were like the first games that I played, and I played them with my uncle. Those are PS1 games, you know? So it's really difficult to come across a properly working copy and to also have the hardware to run it. So absolutely, I love that. And it gives people who, you know, grew up with games the opportunity to relive childhood memories and then potentially extend that to, you know, either their kids, nieces, nephews, family members, whatever, and introduce them to video games the same way they got introduced. So I love that.
That's a great point. I didn't thought about that.
Yeah. One game that I would just love to see a PC or Steam, or I don't have a PS5 or a new updated Xbox, so I'm just going off of like the PC gaming sector, but any of those hemispheres would work, of Episode 3 of Revenge of the Sith. I don't know if you ever played that video game, man, but that was like one of the first Star Wars games that I really, really played a lot. And oh, dude, it is so great.
So I don't believe I did. For anybody that does not know, I am a PlayStation hooker. Like that's all I've ever played. That's all I grew up playing. I didn't have a PC to play. I did play a little bit of like Nintendo and Super Nintendo, like way back in the day. But once PlayStation came out, that's all I played. I played a little bit of Halo in college just because my roommate had whatever the thing's called. I almost called it a PlayStation. Sorry for everybody that I just offended. But yeah, I'm a little inexperienced in that realm. But so yeah, I'm a little heavy leaning on the Sony stuff compared to the other things. But yeah, I would not hate seeing, like, especially because people talk all the time about all of these great classic Star Wars games that used to exist, and I don't know about any of them, and I don't really have a desire to go back and play them because they're so outdated and the graphics are so dated that it's just like, this isn't worth playing, you know? So I definitely wouldn't mind that. Jay Murph's going to get mad at me in chat because he's like, is there really a need to remake God of War? Yes, there is. Yes, there absolutely is, because it's the greatest game of all time. Thank you very much. Like, for me, thank goodness they're doing this. Like, I know that they've made an updated version of God of War with the Norse mythology. I get that. But that is so different than the original trilogy. Like, that is a much more mature and PG-13 type thing. It's very story related, versus the original trilogy is just, God, it's everything awesome for a dude. Like, if you're a teenager, early 20s, like, it's the best thing that ever existed in video games. Like, getting to just murder things and wreck things and just finger mash the square button and everything dies. It's great. And plus there's sex scenes. I mean, in what game could you ever get that before? Like, it was amazing. Like, yes, I want high def updated sex scenes. Thank you very much. Like, yes, I just said that, guys. But yeah, without a doubt, for me, that is the number one thing I want to see, and I'm so glad they're doing it. But in terms of like the general concept of updating classics, I didn't agree with it as much before, to be honest with you, because I feel like it's a waste of investment. Like, I feel like you're better off creating new story. Like, I'm that way with movies, okay? Like, I hate updated Disney movies, like the remaking of like Cinderella and the remaking of Snow White and The Lion King. Oh, don't even get me started on that. Like, they were classics for a reason. They were amazing for a reason. I don't want you to redo these and just destroy them. But I think the difference here is they're not necessarily taking the game and completely redoing it, reimagining it. They're just updating it. So I'm a little more open to that. And I like what you said about like being able to connect with the next generation and be like, this is what I grew up doing. Like, I think of like GoldenEye. Like, that's another game that would be amazing to have an update on. Like, my friends and I playing that all the time in high school. Like, it was so fun. The idea of being able to like have an updated version of GoldenEye and play that now, like with your kids or something like that would be so cool. So I was not on team updating classics until you started your argument. Like, that whole generational thing that you pointed out, like that, yeah. That sounds like a great idea to me.
Well, and so I mentioned episode 3 Revenge of the Sith video game, but everybody who knows me knows that I have a massive stiffy for a Mr. Jango Fett. Okay.
Yes, right.
Star Wars Bounty Hunter on PS2 was such a great game. And when I saw that Steam released it on PC, hallelujah. You want to talk about some high def? You ever seen it? To throw it back in high definition, my friend. Oh, let me tell you, that'll change your life.
I believe it, sir. I believe it.
But
Man, there are
yeah,
so
man, like
many.
and
Go ahead.
no, I'm sorry, man, but it gives you a chance to play back through that nostalgia and nostalgia in that aspect, and it's got to be done correctly. So like
Yes.
they didn't update many of the graphic settings for Star Wars Bounty Hunter. They kept it like you were still playing that 2005 2006 game. They just like tweaked the controls to make it a little bit more intuitive, which was great.
Yeah.
Like there's people who played the original 3 Spyros versus the original 3 Crashes versus the updated ones on Steam. I've mentioned that, you know, the graphics make it look a little bit more like cartoony and goofy as opposed to like, you know, the block pixels of the late 90s, which is a fair argument, but I don't know. I think that you open up a very very easy slam dunk for revenue by doing this.
I agree. It is. I will say that it is easy money. I mean, that's why places like Disney are redoing the movies. It's just easy money, especially with the ones that are from our generation of growing up. Because we're, I mean, like, so millennials. We'll say millennials as a whole. Like, our kids are now that age, so all the millennials want to go see these things for nostalgia purposes. You then get the next generation, their kids, hooked on these things too. Like, I understand why they do it. It makes total sense from a profit standpoint. I just, especially, I think, so movies are a little different, I think, in this scenario than the video games. The video games, they don't change the game, they just update the game, versus the movies, they redo it, they recast people. Like Beauty and the Beast is a prime example. Like, Angela Lansbury is no longer alive. Like, there are just certain people that you cast in roles that if you can't replace them, it shouldn't be redone. And I know that doesn't completely translate to gaming, and we're getting a little out of our topic area, but it still applies here. Like, there's just some things you just shouldn't touch, guys. That's a whole nother topic. Anyway.
Yeah, when Tamora Morrison is no longer with us,
Yeah.
if they change Boba Fett's voice or Jango Fett's voice, I will lead the riot. that is my bounty hunter, damn it.
Understandable. All right. Well, guys, if you were listening, if you were in chat, obviously the people live in chat, I've seen a lot of your recommendations, lots of really good recommendations for games that you would like to see remade. We had some suggestions like RoboCop, Total Recall, Dune, obviously all the Star Wars games that we've been talking about, Need for Speed. Welcome in, Scotty Anderson, by the way. So many great options. Let me know in the chat and or on Spotify, YouTube, etc., guys. What would you like to see updated if you could have anything updated? Sweenes, last thing with this is our reasonable or ridiculous category. Do you think updating, and I think I know the answer, but do you think updating classics is reasonable or ridiculous?
Oh, this is slam dunk. Two thumbs up, double reasonable.
Double, well, he's really getting hard on this one, guys. Double reasonable.
Come on, give me the paddle. Give me the green paddle.
I forgot about the paddle. Hold on. There it is. There it is, guys. It is reasonable, confirmed from Sweenes. I also agree. I was going to say ridiculous, but Sweenes argued and convinced me otherwise. We're going reasonable, guys. It is absolutely reasonable to do classic gaming updates. Totally on board with that. All right, moving on to our third topic, guys. We're moving from gaming to music. Kind of related, but some really good stuff.
Musical news aids.
All right, so Sweenes, with music, our topic today comes courtesy of J-Murph, who's in chat right now. Thank you, J-Murph. And his question here is, what is the better experience in music? Is it live concerts or virtual concerts? And why? So my first question for you, A, have you attended a live concert?
Yes, I
Okay.
have.
Have you watched a virtual concert?
I have not.
Interesting. Okay. We're going to have kind of two opposing views here then. What live concert did you see?
I've seen a handful, and just going in chronological order, I've seen the rapper B.O.B. twice, Ludacris, Macklemore, and 50 Cent.
Ooh. Those are some very good ones, and not what I would have expected, to be honest with you. A little a little different than I thought it would be. Welcome to Ricky P. I believe, Jamer, if you can clarify in chat, I believe it's virtual. That's the word that he used, not recorded, but virtual. So I have kind of been to a live concert. I'll tell that story in a second. But I thank you, Sweenes, for the gifted sub. I have definitely watched virtual concerts before. Coming from the reaction realm, for those of you who don't know, I do music reactions. And I had a lot of, virtual concerts recommended to me and have seen a lot of them live, but I've seen more of them in a recorded setting. And Jamer just confirmed it can be both live or recorded virtual concerts. So I've seen a lot of virtual recorded concerts. My live concert experience, you guys are going to get so mad at me because I'm a music teacher. I have never actually been in a live concert in what you guys would consider a concert. I've been to like the Pittsburgh Symphony. Like I've been to those. I've seen musicals, that kind of stuff.
Those count.
I think that's not what most people think of. Most people think of, Styx or something like that. But the one time I did try to go to a live concert, we were going to who was it? It wasn't Chicago. I forget. It was a band like Chicago. I'll remember here in a second. We went to go see their concert, and we were tailgating in the parking lot, and we got delayed from tailgating so much. And by the time we finally decided to go into the concert, a massive thunderstorm hurricane came through and they had to cancel the concert. So we got in there and they weren't playing because the rain had already started. So even though I was at the concert, I never actually attended the concert, if that makes sense. So I've never actually officially been to a live concert. So we're going to lean on you heavily for the live aspect of it, and I think me for the virtual aspect of it. For me, the pros of a virtual concert are, one, you can be in the comfort of your own house. Kind of like instead of going to a movie theater to see a movie, you can watch it at your house. I almost 99% of the time prefer watching a movie in my house compared to going to a movie theater, mostly because of people. I hate people in movie theaters. I can't stand them, and I have a good setup at home, so it's kind of nice. Virtual, for me, same idea. I have great sound systems in my basement if I want to watch it downstairs on my big screen and all that jazz, or I can listen on these. I have really good headphones. So virtual concerts are really cool for me. You can watch them in your own comfort. You can fast forward or rewind if you like a part and want to see it again, that kind of thing. There's a lot of pros to it, in my opinion, compared to live concerts. What would you say are the pros of a live concert, Sweenes, since you have attended a couple of them?
So I think that the biggest draw for me for a live concert, it's very similar to why I love going to specifically football games, like Ravens games. When you have a group of people that are all fans of a common thing, you just have more energy, and it's just a different experience. Like that, the first concert that I went to was B.O.B. was performing at the Baltimore Soundstage, and I took my best friend with me. Both of us loved him, and we get down there, and at that point, he just kind of started an upward trajectory. So it wasn't a hugely crowded concert, but everybody who was there knew at that point in time his entire discography. So it was just a great energy throughout the entirety of the concert. And then, you get at that point, the artist can feed off of the crowd energy and become more of an entertainer than just, a straight. There's a difference between being a talented composer or lyricist versus being an entertainer.
Yeah.
And they don't get to show that side on studio albums. So when you put them in front of a crowd, then they get to, show off another talent of theirs.
That's a very good point. So obviously, like I said, I've not been in that specific type of venue, but I have been at live sporting events. And I think you pointed out a good thing. There's the camaraderie aspect of it. So as much as I said I hate being in a theater to watch movies with people because the people piss me off, the people
movies are so much different.
So there is a little bit of a difference between the two scenarios here. But I think also it kind of depends on the concert too. Like if you're in a concert where you've got lots of yard space, you've got lots of room, and you can kind of have your own space, I think I'd be more open to that. Versus if you're at just some giant mosh pit of a setting, I would not be as happy with that. Just because I don't like people being like right up against me, kind of a thing, you know. But I do get the vibe of everyone that is there for a similar reason, and excited to see the same thing. I understand that, and I think that is something that is different than in movies, because a lot of times people are just looking for something to do. And they don't really like the one. What was the movie I went to go see? Oh, it was Deadpool. It was Deadpool versus Wolverine or whatever. I went to go see that movie, and there were like 5-year-olds sitting behind me. I was so pissed because they kept kicking my seat, and I'm like, "Why do you have a 5-year-old in this movie?" Like, and I guarantee it's just because the parent was like, "I don't know what to do. Let's just go do this and entertain them." Like, so maybe in a live concert setting, you don't have that kind of scenario that plays out, so it's not as bad. But I do feel like if it was super duper duper crowded, I would not be as big of a fan of it. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair take, man. And like, again, it when you're there, and just similar with like live sporting events or anything where a large group of people are coming together for something, the mood of the entire event is heavily based on people's ability to not be complete. Okay, like if you're gonna be an absolute piece of, then you should just stay home.
Yeah.
But I haven't experienced that with concerts. I've had a couple of movies that I've gone to, and someone either will not shut up, won't get off their phone, or is just shouting things out in the middle of it, and that's complete garbage. But with a concert, you don't really have that much of an issue. You might get one drunk guy in the back going, "Hey, play Freebird!" But
yeah, I've never been to one, and even I know that reference. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it just adds another layer to it, you know?
Yeah.
And again, you get to see another side of the artist that you don't normally get to see.
So Janu in chat brings up a good point too. Like, so I didn't even think about this because this is a nightmare for us here in Pittsburgh with our main venue. It's an outdoor venue. He said that the like leaving the concert is terrible. Like here at I don't even know what it's called anymore because it goes with so many different names every year. But our outdoor venue, the parking is horrendous. The traffic is absolutely horrendous. Like I would never go to that venue for a concert. I would go to, again, I don't know what it's called because it changes every 2 years, but the what used to be the Consol Energy, PPG, whatever, where the Penguins play. I would go to that because that's not as bad in terms of traffic and parking and all that jazz. But like that's a whole other thing. If the venue is not set up to handle it, I think I would prefer a virtual setting because you can still see all of the visual awesomeness of a concert when you're watching a live virtual concert. Like it's a little different than watching like a movie recording version of a concert, to be clear, if anybody doesn't know the difference that we're talking about here. Like an actual live concert that has been recorded, it's still really cool. It still looks amazing. Like I said, with all the reaction videos we've done, we've seen lots. I try to watch live scenarios as much as I can, but it's really cool. But I will say this, Sweenes, this is kind of like my final argument between the two. Again, I have not been to a traditional concert, but having gone to theater and seeing musicals in the theater situation, there is a big difference between live performances versus what you would see at home, or even if you have a great sound system, because it's just not going to compare. And that is the physical reverberation of the sound hitting your body. Like it's something that we talk about in the band world whenever you go, if you watch like the DCI championships, even if you have this amazing sound system, it pales in comparison to being in the stadium and experiencing those bands live, because literally your body gets pushed back by the raw sound that is coming out from that live venue. Like all of the things that I think are great about a virtual setting, I still don't think can win simply because of that physical feeling of the sound, not just the hearing of the sound. What do you think on that?
Oh yeah, I 100% agree, man. And the last concert that I went to was 50 Cent, and um the introductory notes
Mhm.
to Patiently Waiting, you just that echoed through the entire arena, man. It was like right to the soul, man. It was like, oh, and everybody's like, oh, he's playing the song. And then they're like, hold on, is he gonna bring out Eminem? No, he's not. Okay, let's move on. But like, yeah, like you get a powerful melody coming through a stadium quality sound system. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, I believe it, man. So I think we both know our answers, but just for to be completely dotting our I's, crossing our T's, I switched up the order, but you know what I mean. Which one are you taking, a live concert or virtual concert?
I think just for the fan experience, I would take the live concert. But to your point, I have like YouTube wise, watched previously recorded
Mhm.
live concerts, and you can still get a little bit of that energy, and it's fun. But it's something about being there. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go live.
I'm with you on that one. It's a cool fall, backup option if need be, but still the live concert, still it can't compare. Shout out to again J-Murph guys, who's currently in chat, for suggesting that question. That's a great debate question that we have there. If you guys have any questions, speaking of, that you would like us to talk about on this podcast, it could be about any of the different topics that we discuss, which are again sports, gaming, music, cinema, which can also be TV, and food/drink. Feel free to head over to our Discord, guys. We'll have all of that information down below and such, so you guys can check that out. But feel free to head over to the Discord channel under the podcast section and give us your suggestions for questions that you would like to see us address in the future. So again, thank you, J-Murph. All right, moving on to speaking of cinema/TV, we got our fourth topic here, which is none other than
Scintillating cinema.
all right, Sweenes. So this one's gonna be hot, especially because, like we said, we are Star Wars fans. We're a bunch of Star Wars nerds here, primarily on Twitch. We got a Star Wars themed question here. Recently, Kathleen Kennedy stepped down as kind of the head creative consultant and producer for the Star Wars side of Disney, and now Dave Filoni has been brought up to take over that role. There's obviously some controversy, I think, in terms of Filoni stepping into that role. People might have wanted to see others, and we can talk about that as well in this discussion. But what are your general thoughts on kind of the two sides of this? A, Kathleen Kennedy stepping down. Do you think it was time? Do you think she didn't need to go? Do you think she did a great job? And B, do you think Filoni is the right guy to replace it?
I'm gonna start with option B first by asking you a question.
Okay.
What is, from your experience, what is the most enjoyable piece of Star Wars media that you have consumed?
Oh, good Lord. That's a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've done tier rankings of the movies in the past, and I made it explicitly clear what my number one movie was. The movie is Rogue One. I think Rogue One is far and away the best movie made. Empire Strikes Back is a very close second. Don't get me wrong. But that's my number one movie made. I don't think a video game beats that. In terms of TV side of things, so I'm a big fan of Clone Wars. Not necessarily that I think Clone Wars is like amazing, but I love the world building that they were able to do in that. And I mean, Mandalorian was great as well, man. It was so good, especially the first two seasons, and then it went. But I still think if I could only pick one thing, it's still probably Rogue One. I still think that is my number one. Andor is almost like a 1B to that. I almost think of Andor as being a part of Rogue One, if that makes sense. So it's kind of hard to separate the two. But yeah, Rogue One / Andor, I guess, is what I would say for that. What are your thoughts?
Okay, and I think Kathleen Kennedy directed Rogue One, correct?
No, she didn't direct it. No.
She didn't direct it? Ooh,
Not
okay.
directing, no. So
I'm
she's
losing
never
my brain cells.
directed anything. She's been involved as a producer, And this
Okay.
is, we'll get into this a little bit too. She's also been involved in the creative process of things. With Rogue One, I believe she was a producer at that point in time. She's produced, I think, everything after the original trilogy, because that wasn't a part of Disney. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong on that one, all you super Star Wars nerds out there. I believe she was not involved in the original trilogy, but I think she's touched everything since then, basically.
Okay. So the reason why I led off with that question is that the original trilogy for me, that is what I grew up with.
Mhm.
So, there's some bias there. But I fell back in love with Star Wars because of the Clone Wars, specifically the Maul arcs,
Yes.
which was a very big fan service, but simultaneously allowed a character that was already beloved, even though he had like less than 20 minutes of screen time, I think, in The Phantom Menace before he got chopped in half. But like you said, the world building is fantastic. The character development, you get to see so many in-depth relationships between Jedi generals and the clones, and it's not just a nameless, faceless, fodder, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that blew me away the most, because people always talk about how much of like a mega nerd that Dave Filoni is, and I think in order to do a job like this, you have to be a dork,
Yeah.
just inherently. That Sam Witwer, they were doing a table read. I think that's the term, right?
Yeah.
Table read
read,
before
yeah.
you go to record.
Yeah, just reading
Okay.
the script.
They were doing, yeah. They were doing a table read, and Sam Witwer goes, this detail isn't right, and we can't do this.
Oh my.
And everybody in the room looked at him like, who the you think you are? And Dave Filoni sat back with his 7 million gallon cowboy hat and goes, he's right. We need to change the script. And everyone was like, I have never seen somebody out nerd Dave Filoni before.
Wow.
So like, I think when you have somebody who is that invested into making the franchise, one being like canonically cohesive,
Mm-hmm.
but two, having a genuine passion for the quality of the content that's being created, I think that him stepping into this role is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Net positive. I am not as familiar with the level of love and or dedication that Kathleen Kennedy had for Star Wars. I know that she caught a ton of heat for the sequels trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
and some of that is rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. I feel like that the Filoni kind of has a little bit more of the George Lucas in him, where, I mean, obviously George Lucas founded it and built it from the ground up, so he was mega dork.
Right.
And Filoni kind of trends more in the direction of him, where he wants things to be, like visually and, for lack of a better term, emotionally appealing for the viewer, but isn't willing to sacrifice story in order to do a fan service or whatever it is, like bringing back characters from the original
dead.
trilogy who should be dead.
It's so I think there's kind of layers to this. So, because like if you look at Kathleen Kennedy's history, she's done some great things. Like, so she's been involved in Indiana Jones. I'm pretty sure she was involved in Jurassic Park. I think she was involved in Jaws. She did a lot of collabs with Steven Spielberg in particular that were highly, highly, highly successful. And then she came over to Star Wars, and they were not as successful. And I think what we see with her is that she is a good producer in the purest sense of the word, and that she's good at organizing, like, how do we get all of these assets to be successful on set? How do we get these assets to be able to get good writing? How do we get these assets to do this stuff? She's good at organizing the structure of the filming procedure. She is not good at the creative process of these things, because that's what happened when she got involved on the Disney side of stuff, specifically Star Wars, she started trying to get involved in the you know, the design aspect, the storytelling aspect of it, the creative side of things, and it tanked miserably, absolutely miserably. And I think the director that she has is super important for her, because we saw with Steven Spielberg, things were great. He has this great vision of things. He's a great storyteller. He has very, very well laid out and established, this is what the story is going to be, period, end of discussion, and that makes it easier. Even with Rogue One, like, it's pretty famously known for having to have to do a lot of rewrites, having to bring in a new director. Ron Howard, I believe, had to finish it, if I'm correct in that. He either started or finished. I can't remember which one. And we just see some of that chaos under Kathleen Kennedy there. And then obviously with the sequel trilogies, we saw the same thing, different directors, people taking different ideas and making it their own stories in those things. Like, there was just no cohesive, you know, mind to guide everything and everyone like she had when she was with Steven Spielberg. And I think that's where her problem came in. She needed somebody that is very, very organized and knows what the story is and knows what they want and how to get it. And then she just facilitates that process. Like Jon Favreau with The Mandalorian. He knew exactly what he wanted. He was going to get what he wanted. And she just facilitated that process. When she started to get more involved, that's when the problems came into play. So Kennedy stepping down from this role. So for me, I think that's a great thing. I think she was not in the right, I don't know if I want to say right role. She was not doing the right thing within that role is the way I would describe it. She was outside of her lane. Like, stay in your lane, damn it. You know, that kind of a thing. Filoni stepping into this. So I feel like it's kind of the opposite. It's like a yin and a yang situation. So he's great from a creative storytelling perspective. He knows the lore. He's going to know how to follow canon and establish. He's very collaborative. He'll work with people to get what he wants. But I don't know how good he's going to be at actually facilitating them staying on schedule and getting the things that they need to be able to film and to produce and all this stuff. That's the side of it I am a little bit worried about with him, because that's not what he does. Like, that's not his specialty. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess I didn't really take into consideration about the logistical side of that argument, which is a good point. But I think on the whole that people would probably tend to agree that if release dates get pushed back, deadlines get missed, if the quality of the media is still top notch, that is more forgivable than meeting deadlines, hitting release dates with a subpar piece of media.
Yeah,
I might be off on that, but I think that that enough instances of other franchises where they say, "Oh, look for this coming soon," and then soon keeps getting dream delayed further down the road, blah blah blah. But then if it comes out and it's an absolute like bang up job, cool, great, it was worth the wait, we're good. As opposed to something that feels like it was just thrown together at the last minute because we need to pump out content.
That's the problem that the MCU is running into right now. They just kept churning out content, and people got tired of crappy content, and they've started to stop watching that now too. So Disney's running into that problem over there as well. But those are,
and it hurts my.
Go ahead.
It hurts my soul that it ended up being the book of Boba Fett. Of all characters, you're gonna with Boba.
That's where the downfall started.
Oh my god, it hurt my feelings so much. I was like, this is a hot pile of.
Yep, exactly.
You couldn't have done this better for my boy. But, personal bias aside.
To your point, what worries me a bit, like you said, that they'll be patient with Filoni as long as the content is good. We, the fans, will be patient with Filoni if the content is good. The suits at the
Disney
top
will
not be. That's where I get a little worried.
That's a good point.
But here's where I think here's the winning combo, because like Scotty Anderson in chat referred to this. Filoni is well known for being collaborative. He loves working with people. He will put people in places where their strengths can really help improve the total project. like he did with Jon Favreau with the MCU. He'll lean on people like Jon Favreau. He'll lean on the people that know the stuff, that know the content, and are capable in the industry, in my opinion. And he's not someone that's like self-centered and is going to want all that glory. Not saying that Kathleen Kennedy is either necessarily, but I trust in his ability to collaborate to overcome some of those possible weaknesses of his that might be an issue moving forward, if that makes sense. So,
And Baby Yoda brings up a really good point of saying that Filoni can get so lost in the lore that casual audiences may tune out. Do you understand how difficult it was for me to explain to my parents, God bless them, when we went to see Solo, why Maul was there? Maul died. He got cut in half. He fell down a reactor shaft. Well, Mom, Dad, you know how there were cartoons? Yeah, cartoons are for kids. That's not Star Wars. I go, well,
that is
kind
a
of
good point.
is. So
yeah, that's a good point.
That could be a pitfall.
Yeah. It's almost where it's like bringing somebody in. Well, like Tony Gilroy is an example with Andor. He had really very little affiliation with Star Wars, and he said, "I'm not going to write a Star Wars story. I'm going to do my own thing." And I think having that fresh perspective to collaborate with the lore expert, I think could be a good thing. Like, say, this is what the audience is going to want. This is what they're going to want to know. I, as someone who does not watch Star Wars at all, this is what I need in order to be able to understand what's happening and still enjoy the content. Like, I think that's a very good point, that they're going to have to, cater to that side of it as well. So Sweenes, to kind of wrap up our category here. So again, our rating of this, guys, for our scintillating cinema is 2 thumbs up, 1 thumb down, or 2 thumbs down. How are you rating the Kennedy stepping down and Filoni stepping into that role? What do you think, Sweenes?
Initially I was going to go hard with 2 thumbs up here, but some of the aspects that you brought up, in particular, like the logistical side of it, and also the shout from Baby Yoda, this I'm trending more towards a 1 thumbs up, because of the ramifications from Disney. The corporation could end up having Dave Filoni's tenure be short.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. Like, so coming from a musical, background where I've been behind the scenes and stuff, like what you see on stage is not everything that happens, and it's very easy to not understand everything that goes on in these positions. And again, Filoni, another thing to think about, he did animation. He's dabbled in live action now, but live action is not his forte. So I don't think we can go full 2 thumbs up. I'm with you on that one. I think it's a single thumb up. I think it's a good move to move away from Kathleen Kennedy. I think Filoni is a good candidate for this. I think things are trending in the right direction, but I'm not like, oh, this is the absolute best thing that could have ever possibly happened type of scenario. So 1 thumb up from both of us. Let us know in the chat, guys. Let us know over if you're watching again on Spotify, Twitch, etc., YouTube. Let us know what your thoughts are on that move in the Star Wars land. Final category, Sweenes. This is a fun one to finish with. I love finishing with our food and drink, and of course our tier rankings, guys, because we like to get things hot and spicy for tier rankings. So next up, watch the spelling of this, guys. It's very, very not intentional. It's intentional is the word I'm looking for.
Tiramisu tap room.
Tiramisu tap room, baby. All right, Sweenes, since you are from Maryland, I'm doxing you. Sorry, sir. You're from Maryland, and you famously have some wonderful crab cakes and different great crab cuisine that we experienced during our cook-off that we had for the Steelers-Ravens game. We're going to keep this crab cake themed today. So we have, for those of you guys that don't know how tier rankings work, we have 5 categories typically. We have S tier, which is the best possible tier. We have A tier, B tier. We have Canada. For those of you who don't know, Canada is the C tier. They're just okay. Exactly. Well done, Sweenes. For you guys who can't see this, he just showed the okayest mod ever shirt that we have for one of our Canadian mods with the Canadian flag on it. And then we have our D tier, which is the lowest possible tier. So we have those 5 tiers, Sweenes. We also have 5 crab cake styles. So these are styles of crab cakes, guys, not necessarily specific flavors or that kind of thing. We have the following: Maryland crab cake, Boardwalk crab cake, Creole or Louisiana crab cake, Carolina crab cake, and West Coast crab cake. Now, Sweenes, before I have you give me your thoughts on these, I'm just going to kind of give everybody an idea of what these are. So I'll let you kind of explain the Maryland style. The boardwalk, you guys have boardwalk style in Maryland too, correct? Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's
Yes.
kind of a Jersey thing as well, but I know that you guys still have that in Maryland. So the boardwalk style is a little bit more casual. It's got heavily seasoned. It's a heavily seasoned version, and it's usually breaded and deep fried, sometimes served on a bun. Louisiana or the Creole version has a spicy kick to it, usually using Cajun spices. Typically has some breading. The Carolina style usually incorporates saltine crackers for texture, so that's a bit different. And a bit of a zing, creating kind of a savory flavor. If you guys have ever had Carolina barbecue, you kind of understand that as well. The West Coast crab cakes are typically, this is the biggest difference, is they're made of Dungeness crab rather than the blue crab that's typical of most of these East Coast variants. Now, Sweenes, I'm assuming you're a traditional Maryland crab cake guy, not the boardwalk style. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Okay, so give us your most enticing and mouth-watering explanation of what a Maryland crab cake is.
So, for your more typical Maryland style crab cake, you want ideally to use jumbo lump back fin meat. It is the largest chunks and it is the most tender meat within the blue crab.
Uh-huh.
Um, there is some slight breading, and you can deep fry them, but I personally think it's better to pan sear them, uh, similar to how we did at the cook off for the Steelers tailgate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the key to it, and this is where I think that specifically like your Carolina crab cake kind of has a slight miss for me,
Uh-huh.
is that in Maryland and Louisiana, the blue crabs that you consume are steamed,
Oh, okay.
whereas other areas of the South on the East Coast like to boil the crab.
Ugh.
And when you boil it, the meat just gets really
It's like boiled chicken.
runny, and it loses its texture and consistency, and it just um so like for me, having been raised with steamed crabs, like steaming any kind of crab, honestly, I think ends up giving you a better texture and consistency for the meat as opposed to boiling, because obviously the boiling water penetrates and saturates the meat, and if you overcook it, then it becomes really soggy. Whereas if you over steam a crab, uh, or any other crustaceous seafood, instead of becoming saturated and soggy, the meat just sticks to the shell. So you just have to dig in a little bit more.
And what is the seasoning that these are most famous for?
Oh, dude, Old Bay. We put that on everything.
Yeah, because I purposely did not say about that with any of the other ones. So Old Bay seasoning, key thing for Maryland guys here in particular. Also, I want to point out, so you guys typically for the traditional Maryland ones, you don't put a lot of breading on it, correct? It's fairly minimal with the breading.
Yeah, it's just enough to kind of hold it together,
yeah,
but
just-
it's not a heavy emphasis.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so of those 5 styles, chat, feel free to fire away at this as well with your thoughts on this, okay? We're going to start out with the West Coast crab cakes. We're going to kind of go backwards here. West Coast crab cakes. That's Dungeness crabs instead of the blue crab. Sweenes. S, A, B, Canada, or D? Where are you putting it?
I'm putting this one in Canada because it's a very similar cook style.
Mm-hmm.
And Dungeness crab is just a little bit less sweet than blue Maryland or than blue crab in general. Um, I think that just like Solzy, it's pretty okay.
Somehow I feel like we're going to be on the same page on a lot of these. I think I'm in the same boat. For reasons that I'll get into in a little bit later, but I think I'm going to put West Coast in the C tier as well. It's just okay. I think I prefer blue crab over Dungeness, but it's, again, like you said, pretty similar. So I'm okay with Canada on that one. All right, moving up from Dungeness, we're going to go to Carolina style. A, B,
All right.
sorry, S, A, B, or D?
Is there anything lower than D for boiling your seafood? Actually, let me rephrase, boiling your crabs. You can boil other seafood, but nah, D, goodbye.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with you. I hate not even that, like ignoring that. Let's say that they actually cooked the crab the correct way. Who puts saltine crackers compared to like using breadcrumbs or something like that? Like, give me something other than saltine crackers as a binding agent, first of all. And B, I hate Carolina flavoring in general. Like, I'm not a fan of Carolina barbecue. It's just bland. I know that they say it's a zing and it's savory. No, it's not. It tastes like crap. Like, no, thank you. So yeah, I'm totally on board with you on this one. This is absolutely D tier, without a doubt. See you later,
Although I
Carolina.
didn't realize that they used the saltines as the binding agent, because like if you get a crab cake sandwich, for instance, a lot of restaurants around here can offer either like using bread or saltines as the bread that you would get with the sandwich, but it's not
Yeah.
used as part of like the binding agent. So that's interesting.
So
Interesting.
it says it's used for texture, but I mean it's still a part of the, like, whether it's like mayo and that or whatever. It's still a part of what's binding it together. But it says that they use that as an extra form of texture. But yeah, no thanks.
Psychopaths.
Yeah, they're weird. Okay, moving on to our next one. And this is highly appropriate for today, because for today, those of you that are not aware of when we're actually filming this, this is Mardi Gras. Today is Fat Tuesday. And for those of you that don't know, I just got back from New Orleans with a band trip, which was really cool. And we were at Nashville as well. So I feel like this is super, super appropriate for today. Our third style is Louisiana or Creole style. Sweenes, where are you putting this Cajun-y hot type crab cake, sir?
For me, this one goes A. It's the cook style is almost identical to Maryland. And the only thing that Maryland people will get up in a tizzy about is that you're not using quote unquote traditional Old Bay seasoning. You're using the Cajun seasoning, and if you have a complexion very similar to Ram, that might be too much for you to handle.
For those
but
unaware, Ram does not have a lot of melatonin or melanin. Melanin, I think.
Melatonin.
Melatonin.
No,
thank
melanin.
you.
Melatonin is the
It does
sleep
not
thing.
have a lot of
Melanin,
melanin. Yes. Anyway.
But yeah, like it's a very similar style. It has the only difference is the Cajun flavoring versus like the Old Bay McCormick spice blend. So for me, that one goes A.
That's higher than I thought you were going to put it. I figured you would put that at B. For me, especially after having been in New Orleans, don't get me wrong, the food there was okay. I actually still prefer like Nashville spice over the New Orleans spice, but I love Cajun. I freaking love Cajun. If I could eat everything Cajun style, I would eat everything Cajun style. It's like my number one flavor profile probably across any kind of flavor that's out there. So for me, this is S tier. Without a doubt, S tier. Just give me all the Cajun seasoning. I know that you are so mad inside right now and cringing so hard. I'm sorry, sir. But I gotta bump it all the way up to S. I gotta represent New Orleans. Nolans. And you know me and my tier rankings. I gotta trigger everybody.
I'm getting flashbacks to the Summer Olympics tier ranking, man.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus.
There's no skill involved. All right, so we're kind of split on that one right now, guys. We'll finalize that here in a moment. Maryland boardwalk style, Sweenes. Where are you putting the boardwalk style?
For me, boardwalk probably goes B. I mean, it's a good quality crab cake. You don't get quite as large like lumps of the meat for it when they're crafting it, because they just have to pump them out at a higher rate than if you're going to an actual like sit down restaurant. So there isn't much differentiation to me between like the taste. They tend to be a little bit. I think they tend to be more deep fried than like pan seared. So, if you like something that's a little bit more crunchier, then that would be your go to. But it's a B for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one too. It's pretty straightforward. It's B. Everything you said, I agree with. It's B. Which means our final one is where we're split. Maryland style, gourmet style, whatever you want to call it. Where are you putting it, Sweenes?
Do you need to ask? Do you really need to ask, man?
I don't need to ask. But for all the
It
listeners.
belongs in S tier. God. Without the Maryland style crab cake, I feel, and this is 100% bias, so call me what you want, but without having like that point of reference, because I feel like with people's palates for more spicy foods,
Mhm.
a lot of people shy away from the Cajun just because, again, of having a complexion like Ram. You probably don't want to get too adventurous, but the Maryland style one is a low spice profile. It's well made. It's steamed just like the Louisiana style. And there isn't a whole lot of extra stuff. You're not going to get a crab cake that's like 40% breading. So
Yeah.
for me, it's got to be S, because that is the OG, that is the benchmark,
Yeah,
and you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's A. It is the OG. It's very, very good. I've had it before. It is amazingly good, but I got to bump it up because of that Creole, the Cajun flavoring thing for me. So, guys, first of all, everyone listening, whether you're live in chat or listening to this afterwards, first of all, let us know, is there anything egregious that we missed in this tier ranking? And then more importantly, let us know which one of us is right. Is the Cajun
Me.
S tier, like I think, or is the OG Maryland style S tier, like Sweenes thinks?
You live in Pittsburgh. You know pierogies. Get out of here.
This is true. I love pierogies. They're really good. All right, guys. That will pretty much wrap up our topics. Massive shout out to Sweenes here for being our first guest on the inaugural episode of Shawk Talk. Sweenes, tell everybody, please, what you do and how they can find you and see more of you.
Well, so I stream over on Twitch, and if you are somebody who's a connoisseur of high quality, very entertaining streams, you should not come follow me. You should instead go to Welcome to Sandfly. Good old Aldi. But I stream over on Twitch very intermittently, Sweenes14. And most of the time it is Star Wars related games. I am hoping that maybe come summer there is rumor of a Spyro 4 coming out, so kind of looping back to an earlier topic that we had. If they have that out during the summer, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm playing the ever loving out of that game. So, but I do some other random variety streams here and there, but it's primarily a Star Wars based channel.
Nice, man. Nice. Excellent. Well, guys, if you are into any of that stuff at all, even if you're not, you should still go over and give them some love. Check them out over on Twitch, guys. Thank you again so much, Sweenes, for being here, sir. It's been a fun time. Hopefully I didn't hold you over too long with all of our discussions that we had today. Last final thing here, folks, as before we head out, we will be premiering this, like I said, over on Spotify and YouTube, probably other things once I'm able to get that fully set up. So you'll be able to find it on pretty much anything where you are able to find a podcast episode at. Currently right now, I cannot broadcast this live on YouTube as we're recording for reasons. I have to figure that out and fix that, but it will post to YouTube eventually. But if you want to watch the actual live recording of this, folks, and try to troll us in the chat and stuff while we're doing all of this, feel free to head over to Twitch and check us out there where you can see the actual live version of this. But we will be back next week on Tuesday to record our next episode. Similar topics, but obviously very different details within those topics. And we're going to be featuring our second guest, which is Sir Dunk the Tall, another one of our favorite variety streamers that we have over here on Twitch. So it should be awesome time, great topics, and good company. So, Sweenes, any final parting words before we play the outro here?
Track is the best Olympic sport. Fight me.
Don't listen to him, guys. See you next time, everybody.
See you guys.
Welcome on in and take a seat. Conversations that can't be beat. Music and movies to name a few. Sports and drinks. This is a podcast for everyone. Time to chat and have some fun. Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk. Time to chat and have some fun. Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk. This is a podcast for everyone. Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk. Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk.